Hi, everybody. Looks like we are live. Welcome to Sunday night. I hope you're all having a great Sunday and a great weekend. So good to see you all here. I'm seeing names flipping by in the live chat there. Wonderful to have you guys all here. We're almost at the end of January, so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Talk about transitioning from whatever things you were trying this month. We'll get into that in a moment. I want to just make sure everybody knows that we have a giveaway tonight. The giveaway is a sample pack of Element. There's 8 flavors in here and Carnivore bar, the apple pie flavor, limited edition. This will be mailed to some lucky winner tonight. All you have to do is put the word salty in the comments. And at the end of the hour, we will make the draw and you will... someone will get this. So I'll do a reminder in a bit on that. I also want to mention that we have our moderators here tonight, Bonnie and Melissa. Melissa is in the chat. She's called Copper's Carnivore Kitchen. They are here to welcome you, and they will provide links and answer some questions wherever possible, to keep things moving here. Please ask any questions you want because we will spend a lot of time tonight answering questions, and it can be on the topic that we have tonight, or it can be anything else that is a burning question for you. I'll do my best to answer. And what was the other thing? Oh, some of you, I don't know, you may be here for the first time. If you are here for the first time, welcome. Really good to see you. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I started off low carb, then gradually went keto, and then gradually ended up at carnivore. And this month I'm doing Lion Diet, which we'll talk about too in a few moments. I have lost 145 pounds. There's my before picture. And yeah, it's been pretty much life-changing, and I do still have some more to go, which I'm constantly working on, because this is a journey. The magic doesn't happen in a week or a month or even a year for me. It's been a few years in the making. So I'm very glad for those of you that are here tonight to, ask your questions. I'm going to help in any way I can. If you hear some snoring and whining noises, it's not me. It's Pippi. She's laying down there and she's having a little bit of a fitful rest, I guess. I'm not sure what's happening with her, but there she is. So yeah, that's the funny noises. Okay, and it's not Bonnie or Melissa either. Yes, I better mention that as well. So. Okay, so we've talked about the giveaway. So let's talk about January. It was World Carnivore Month. Some of you were doing carnivore for the very first time. Those of you that may be low carb or keto, you may have heard about World Carnivore Month and you decided, I'm going to join everyone else. There's lots of excitement on Instagram about it, things like that. And so maybe you went to carnivore for the month of January. I did Lion for the month of January. Originally, I was going to do 60 days. But I have found that I've just been having some problems this month, mostly with my digestion. And so I have added in some Reuteri yogurt into my plan. I eat 1 or 2 tablespoons after each meal, and that has really helped me. It's kind of saved me from ditching Lion this month. I've been able to keep going, and so I am doing that, and it is what it is. I still consider myself to be following Lion because food-wise, other than that, like for me, that is sort of a medicinal thing that I'm dealing with. I could be taking a pill for it. I'm in this situation because I went off the medication I was on for 15 years, and so I don't want to take the medication. I'll do the yogurt, a couple of tablespoons after every meal. I still feel like I'm doing lion. I'm still just eating beef and lamb and salt and water. so uh, so I will attempt lion again at some point. But I just want to be done with it this month. There's a few days left. So what I want to talk about is how to transition, whether you're lion and transitioning back to carnivore, whether you're keto and you've been trying carnivore and you're trying to transition back to keto, or maybe you've tried something else I don't even know about and you're trying to transition back to whatever it is that's your normal. I'm hoping that what we talk about will help you. And so I had actually somebody emailed me a question through my contact page today, and I just want to repeat that question because it sort of gives me it was a perfect timing for this question. Somebody said that they had been on strict carnivore for 3 years, and they decided to introduce olives, lemons, avocado mayo, raw cheese, and their blood sugar went from 70 to 95, and their triglycerides went from 60 up to 110. So obviously that's not a result that we want when we're transitioning, from something to something else. I don't have any more information from this person. It would be good to know a few things. I don't know why they were adding these things back. So it could be that and some people use carnivore as an elimination diet. So it could be that they wanted to, they've done their carnivore, maybe they got the results they wanted, and now they want to transition to a more keto or ketovore diet. And some people do that and can do that. However, this isn't going in the right direction for them. So the thing that I suggested to them is that they take it all away again and add one thing at a time. And I think that applies to the rest of us who are doing lion as an elimination, carnivore as an elimination, or anything else. So for example, right now I'm eating lion, so that's lamb and beef and water and salt and my yogurt. And in a week, I'm going to add one thing back. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be butter because that's a simple thing. And I know that I'm 99% sure that I tolerate butter well. I don't think it was ever an issue for me. So I think that'll be an easy add. But it's not like, you add one thing a day. It's like add the butter and have regular lion for a week with butter. And then I'm going to add the second thing. And my second thing I've already decided is going to be sardines. And the reason that might seem like a weird thing. Of all the things I could pick, why would I pick sardines? Well, sardines have been a lifesaver for me. I was able to cancel my knee surgery because of sardines. I want them back. I want to make sure that I'm still going to be getting a really decent amount of omega-3s. And to me, that's the easiest way to get them. So I will add a can of sardines a week after I add the butter. And then I'll just sit with that for a couple of days and see how I go. And maybe then I'll eat another can of sardines. And then the following week, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to add then. I'm thinking I might have some pork belly because I have some in the freezer and see how that goes. So that's kind of what we're talking about here as an elimination. You want to add things back and then give your body a few days to respond. And so this person that had these other things, the olives, lemons, mayo and cheese and all that stuff, I think they need to do something like that and be testing too. If blood sugar and triglycerides and things like that are an important thing for you, like if they were, if your triglycerides were too high before and or your blood sugar was too high before, you've got things in a good place now, then you want to keep testing things to make sure you're still in a good place. It's pretty easy to do that with blood glucose and ketones. I mean, almost anybody can get a ketone monitor, one of those dual monitors. You can now get a CGM without a prescription. And so for people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, they can easily keep track of their blood glucose. And we want to do our fasting ketones and fasting blood glucose. So that's first thing in the morning. And that way, there's all you've been doing is sleeping overnight, and so there's not all the stresses of the day, because stress can drive up your blood glucose. All kinds of things can happen throughout the day with both those numbers. So the best time to monitor, to look for the trend, is first thing in the morning when you've just woken up and there hasn't been anything else interfering with those numbers. So I think that is probably a pretty safe recommendation to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go to some questions, but first I want to remind people, because there's a few more people now here than from the beginning, is we do have this giveaway. It's a sample pack of Element, as well as Carnivore Bar, the limited edition apple pie flavor. And that will be mailed that will be given away at the end of this hour. You type in salty, and that is your magic word. You don't have to type it in more than once, because we have this little software program that if you enter 5 times, it'll only give you 1 entry. So just type it in once and save your keystrokes for a question. So, okay, let me go over here to the questions, we have some comments too, I'm sure. Let's welcome Lori Davis. She became a YouTube member, so awesome. Check out the membership tab for Zoom invitations and that sort of thing. But yeah, welcome to our group. We have a question from Eat, Drink, Ride, Repeat. Do you take supplements when doing the carnivore diet? If so, what ones? Thank you. The only supplement I'm taking at the moment is my vitamin D3/K2. That was, I was tested during my annual blood work, and now this was a year ago. So my doctor recommended that, or she said my vitamin D levels were too low and then I needed to take a supplement. So when I researched it, the D3K2 one in MCT oil seemed to be the way to go for me. So that's the one I take. I was doing Element regularly. I don't do it as often now, but I'm doing the unflavored, except I'm almost out, but I also know how to make my own, because Element has the recipe on their website, and I've made that. I've made it, and it was fine. It was good, and so there is a video that shows you how to make that for those of you that want to make your own and save some money. So there you go. But yeah, that is about it. I did consider taking some kind of omega-3 because I wasn't eating the sardines during Lion, but I just never got around to it, really. And also lamb is higher in omega-3s than other meats, and so I did make sure that I got a lot of lamb, just to kind of keep that up a bit. But other than that, yeah, I kind of I haven't really felt the need, and from everything that I read out there and have heard from some of the carnivore YouTube doctors, we should be able to get everything from meat, unless there's a problem, and and people should also be testing their blood work and all that, so that if a problem comes up, they know what it is, And if their doctor says, your D3 or your vitamin D is too low, or this is too low, or that is too high, or something, then There was a time, a long time ago, during one of my annual blood tests, that I was super low in B12, and she was concerned about it and recommended a B12 supplement. Since Carnivore, I'm always at the top end. I don't need those B12s anymore. So we really do get a lot of stuff from meat. Okay, curious enough. Every time I start carnivore/keto, I start getting skin rashes, hair thinning. I keep hearing about going slow, but what would that be? Well, so keto and carnivore are fairly different, but if you, I would definitely, if you're having some issues, start. But I think starting slow means to cut back a little bit at a time. So for carnivore to be successful for most people, it needs to be a fair bit of fatty meat. The fat is the part that you get most of your nutrition from, and it's definitely your energy. So that is hard for some people to do right out of the gate. It can cause some tummy distress, bowel distress, things like that. I just think things are just different. It takes a little while to adapt. So I would definitely, if you're one of those sensitive people, I would definitely start with keto, 20 carbs a day, total carbs, not net carbs, and then slowly, move towards carnivore if that's what you want to do. I don't know if you have any autoimmunes or anything like that. About the hair, I will say that regardless of what diet you start, whether you go carnivore, keto, vegan, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, most people will have a shift in their hair, and it is temporary. I did go through a period where I was kind of freaking out in the shower, like, oh, what's going on here? But hair it goes on a cyclical nature. I think every 3 or 4 months things refresh, and so you may, if you go through a period of stress, like a death in the family or a job loss or a hurricane or fire or something, you're gonna lose hair. Like, it's gonna happen. I mean, so stress, big change in diet, having a baby, hormonal changes. These things are going to affect your hair. The skin rashes could be so many different things that's hard to say. It could be an electrolyte imbalance. It could be some kind of a reaction. We don't know. That would have to be something. Like, a good idea is to keep a journal of your, just a notebook. A dollar store notebook would do it. Write down, your food for the day, what time you ate, and then write down what time any symptoms came up. And then, when you have a couple, 3 weeks of that kind of information, you can look back and say, oh, this happens every time I have this. Or, this happens every time I eat, a real fatty meal, or, you can look for patterns, and that might be really helpful as well. So, yeah, I hope some of that was helpful. D. Marie, do you stress about the percent of the fat versus percent of protein? It's a little overwhelming for me. I do not, because for the last little while, I haven't even been tracking. Although a couple of days ago, I actually started to track just to see where I was, and I was landing in the high 70% fat range, so like 77, 78. Some days 80% calories from fat, and the rest from protein. And I think that's kind of normal for me and normal for a lot of carnivores. I think anytime in the past when I've done carnivore with not enough fat, I don't like how I feel, and I don't, for a while there. I was trying to have, a lot more lean days, and I don't think that's good for me. I see it in my skin when that happens, and in my kind of in my mental well-being. I don't feel right. And so I just buy. I look at what's in the freezer, or not the freezer, the meat department, and if there's 3 or 4 steaks there, I pick the fattiest one, and that's the one that I have. I try to here where I live. They all sell lean and extra lean ground beef, which drives me insane. It's hard to get the regular. I have to go to a special store to get regular, which is a little more fatty. So I either mix, you can mix your own fat in. You can put a lot of the butcher stores, and even one of the local grocery stores near me sells fat, in like beef fat, in the freezer section. The butcher stores, sometimes it's all ground up, and all you have to do is mix it together with the ground beef, and you've got extra fat. And so I just choose to eat fatty meats, and I think that instinct is correct, because like I said, the last few days I decided to track just to see what I was doing, not to hit any goals, but just to see, okay, this is what I eat. What does it look like on my macros? And sure enough, I'm getting in that 70, 75, 80% fat range, which I think is a good range. It's very good for your mental cognition, clarity, ketones, that sort of thing. So I don't, and you know what? Stressing about it is not a good thing, because stressing about it can, that can hold up your weight loss. That keeps your blood glucose up when you have stress. So, don't try not to stress about it. Erica, I do have an answer for this. Why do you think you are having digestive issues this month on the Lion Diet? I know it will be your best guess, but I'm curious as to your thoughts. I think I know. I think I did it to myself. And so I went Lion on October 1st, 2024, and I breezed through October. I breezed through November. And I did not have any problems during October and November with Lion. Given up coffee. I still have given up coffee. In December, after the first week of December, things got really hard with Lion, and I made the decision, okay, I'm just going to be carnivore for December to make it through all of these, gatherings and lunches and dinners, and, the kind of, you guys know what goes on in December sometimes. So I thought, okay, I'll just be carnivore. So that was okay. But after being so clean for those 60 days, just ruminants, just lamb and beef, all of a sudden I was doing charcuterie boards. I was eating processed meat. I was eating, ungodly amounts of cheese and salamis and, those sorts of things. I even got into some nuts, and, I haven't had that in years. So the charcuterie boards are very attractive when there's pickles, olives, and nuts added. Unfortunately, that sometimes gets me in. So I spent, 3 weeks eating those sorts of things that I hadn't had in so long. Like, even when I was just carnivore, I didn't eat those things. I focus on, like the real meat. And I know, sure, deli meats and those, I mean, I know they're made from real meat, but they do have extra things in them. and my gut seems to be a sensitive area with me, as I have found out over the years. And so I think I did some damage there, or reactivated something. I had my skin problems came back. I had rosacea flare-ups. Felt the inflammation. I felt really crappy by the end of December. as though I had, binged on, cupcakes and potatoes and whatever else, I used to eat during December. Like I felt really crappy. And so when I was looking forward to going back to Lion, but immediately, the high fat that I did so well with in October and November, all of a sudden it was an issue, and I was having, the GERD symptoms were back, heartburn, that sort of thing. I had a year ago done 3 months of the Dr. Davis yogurt, and it really cleared up everything like that I was having a year ago. But I hadn't had to eat the yogurt all these months since then. I just did it for the 3 months. And so I thought, okay, I got to go back to it and try that again. It was the only thing that's ever helped me other than drugs, and I didn't want to do the drugs. So I'm almost certain that was it. So, we can really mess ourselves up sometimes, and this is going to give me pause, certainly next holiday season to, please, you guys, remind me in case I forget that it's not worth it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, this is all carnivore. I mean, the nuts are at least keto, with their high fat. Like, I was thinking all these things. I was rationalizing all these things, just like when I used to, eat a bag of cookies or brownies or something. I just, all these things, went right back to some addictive behavior. It happens. It happens. I'm just human too. And I just fell right into it. And, I'm paying for it still. So, although it has gotten better, I've been, I think, a week or 10 days I've been having the yogurt, and so it definitely better. But yeah, it's a good question. Thank you for asking that. Hey, Jason. I hope you're feeling better. I saw your post a few days ago that you weren't feeling good, so glad you're here. Haven't got into fermented dairy of any kind yet. Fermented vegetables have been a game changer for me, though. Yeah, I mean, I did try fermented vegetables first because I thought, that's what, like, my mom always used to talk about. I mean, she made her own pickles. They made their own sauerkraut pickles, pickled everything. They picked any vegetables that they grew, they would ferment. And she had one of those big crock barrels just outside the back door, and my sisters and I used to, we put our arm, we'd be in pickle juice right up to the tops of our arms, reaching down and grabbing the pickles out of there. This was good stuff. And my mom, I remember her drinking the pickle juice, and I was like, why would anyone drink the pickle juice? But I now realize that, she was using the benefits of fermentation, to feel good. And so that was my first thought when I was having these problems. I should do some vegetable. I'll buy the raw, unpasteurized, fermented sauerkraut and some kimchi, things like that. Oh boy, I just even a little amount, and I felt worse than before I had them. So clearly it couldn't be these vegetables for me. And I'm really, I'm glad that works well for you. And I hear that it works well for so many people. And maybe someday I can do that. I can do the odd pickle. That seems to be okay. But beyond that, I tried. So I had Dr. Davis's book for a whole year before I decided to go ahead and try it, because I was worried about the dairy. I was worried, about I was worried about everything about it. I just wasn't convinced. And then I finally had enough and decided to give it a try. What did I have to lose? And that was the thing that did it for me. So, N equals 1, we're all different, and I'm glad that I did try it eventually. And I'm glad that the fermented vegetables do work for some people, because, that is easier to do in many ways. curious. Oh, I had that question already. I think we did that one. Margie, coming off the lion diet, when you're eating regularly, about how many cans of sardines do you eat a week? Well, there was a time when I was eating one a day. So somewhere in my day, whether it be a side, I always thought of it as a side. I'd have like a burger patty or a steak or something, and on the side, my side dish was a can of sardines. But eventually I started to introduce salmon as well. And so I would, I tried to have some kind of seafood once a day. And so at first it was all sardines. And then I started to mix it up a bit. So mackerel, salmon, oysters, I really like smoked oysters. I've finally found some that were packed in olive oil, things like that. Even shrimp sometimes. And of course, some of those are better than others as far as levels of omega-3s. But I thought, if if I'm in that habit of having some kind of seafood every day, then, that's going to hold me in good stead. And so I will eventually get back to doing that. But I got to start with a can of sardines. I'm looking forward to it. Dee Lee, you're looking great. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Carnivore Mama, I have hit a weight stall since November. Tried a sardine fast, but actually gained 2 pounds. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm clean carnivore plus dairy, but not a lot of dairy. Do you have suggestions that may help? Well, I don't know. So I'm surprised about the sardine fast, although it's not supposed to be for weight loss. It's supposed to be for dropping blood glucose and boosting ketones. And a lot of people will, I know Dr. Boz has her groups. They do a sardine challenge. They do 3 days worth of sardines. And then they follow that up with a 3-day fast, like water fast, like just nothing but water. Because the high ketones that you get from eating 3 days of sardines helps you get through the fast. I've never gone 3 days without food. It doesn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. Some people do that. I do some accidental, I call it accidental intermittent fasting. I don't purposely set out to do it, but I often, from my dinner time to my first meal of the day the next day, that is often 14, 16, and even 18 hours. And so that could be something to look into, some intermittent fasting. So when, I'd be interested to know if anything, like if you were measuring ketones or blood glucose while you were doing that, and if that improved at all. I don't know about dairy is one of those things. I know you're saying it's not a lot of dairy. But sometimes dairy is it. Sometimes for some people, I have heard that once they stopped the dairy, that was it. That changed everything, and so that could be the thing. And I don't know anything about your background or whether you have underlying health issues or if you're type 2 diabetes, anything like that. So. It's really hard for me to make very specific suggestions. But one thing might be to, track for a couple of weeks, see where you fall, and compare it. Then do your TDEE, and compare. A lot of people go the other way around, and so I kind of think there's value in not knowing what your TD is. So that's why I'm saying track first, so that the TDEE doesn't influence how much you eat during those 2 weeks. But if you track for a couple of weeks, then do your TDEE, find out what it is, compare, and it might reveal something. It might reveal undereating. It might reveal not enough protein, too much protein. overeating. Like it could reveal any number of things, and it might give you a place to start tweaking. But yeah, that's all I can really suggest with the amount of information here. So, but thanks for the question, Allison. I'm so tired of eating meat, eggs, and bacon. Is there anything else I can do? I have been carnivore 5.5 months. Well, meat is there's a wide variety of meat. Are you eating the rainbow of meat? So there's all kinds of different cuts of pork, all kinds of different cuts of beef and lamb that all taste, they have different tastes and textures. See, when I first thought of becoming carnivore, I called it meat, just like you are here. I called it meat. And I said, I don't know if I can just eat meat and that's it, nothing else. I just don't know if I can do that. And then when I started, it was like, I sort of had a couple of things, a couple of go-to things, because I didn't know, I hadn't broadened my horizons yet. And I didn't know about all of the meat and what it encompassed. And so it sort of felt a little like I think you're probably feeling like just, is this it? Is this all I get? Is this what it's going to be? And so you get a little bit of meat aversion. And if you can handle dairy, maybe try some cottage cheese to break things up. Maybe try a few recipes or whatever. But eventually, through all that, I got to the point where it just never gets old for me now. I mean, you can even now there's a few different cuts that are my favorites that I could eat them on the daily and they would never get old. And I just, I look at it and go, oh, I can hardly wait to dig into that. That takes time. You're still in, I know 5.5 months may seem like a lot, but that's early days, actually. It's early days. And so it will get better, and I certainly hope that you are having, some issues resolving, to help you stay connected with that, know what your why is, and feel like, oh, okay, it's worth it. I'm healing. A great suggestion from Christine Lamb here. Different textures really make a difference for me, and different cuts. Yes. And one of the things, it's not so much, I don't need to do it so much now, but in the beginning it helped to have maybe two different kinds of things on your plate. So maybe a steak with a few shrimp, or maybe a burger patty with something else, some chicken wings or something. So 2 or 3 different types of proteins, so that it feels like you're having, it doesn't feel like just meat when you have 2 or 3 different kinds on your plate, because they're all different textures, different flavors. So thank you, Christine, for that suggestion too. Okay. Where did I go here? Curious enough, I don't like boiled meat, but I love steak. Is it true that eating too much steak seared on skillet can be carcinogenic? I have not heard that. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have not heard that ever. I've heard, I think where I've heard it is that if you're grilling and you're always burning your meat on the outside, that could be a problem. And again, I don't really know if that's true or not. I don't like boiled meat either, unless I'm making. So here's what I do. I like to make meat stock, and meat stock is a real good thing for gut healing. I'm not talking about bone broth. I'm talking about actual meat stock. So I will put some meats, can be anything. It can be steak, it can be chuck steak, or the cheaper cuts work really well. Oxtails, lamb bones, things like that. Put it in your pressure cooker, or if you don't have a pressure cooker, just boil it for hours and save the broth. That's your meat broth. But then the boiled meat that comes out, I save that and then I put it in my air fryer and make it crispy. And it is very good that way. But yeah, if it just came out like that, it's all gray and unappealing looking. I'm not a fan. But crisped up in the air fryer, it becomes a whole different thing. So, but you know what? If you're searing your meat in a skillet, honestly, I don't see the problem. If anybody knows, please chime in, because I just don't. I just hadn't heard that. Run Hao, may I know how SIBO yogurt helped you? How much do you take every day? So I eat 1 to 2 tablespoons after each meal. So what it does is it keeps my digestion issues at bay. I'm not having to go looking for Tums or wishing I was back on my medications. It's helped a lot. I still have it, but I'm only 10 days in, so I still have, every now and then I'm like, oh, I ate, maybe I ate too much at the last meal, although I don't think I do. I really don't think I'm eating too much. I just think it's my sensitive digestion. I have heard other people report some other things, and so I'm going to try to stay doing this for a few months to see if I get those same benefits. I've heard of skin issues being healed with this. So that's one that I'm kind of thinking, oh, that would be good. Just general overall wellness. And some people have said, they're supposed to be, I think it helps to release oxytocin or something like that. So it's supposed to be like a feel-good thing as well. Specifically, those L. reuteri, microbes are good for those things. If you Google, the benefits of L. reuteri, you'll probably see quite a list. And digestion is just one of a few things. So it doesn't take much. I know that Dr. Davis, I think he recommends a total of half a cup per day. And in that half a cup, you're going to get 300 billion microbes in there. And so he says that is a good amount to use. And so I'm probably eating less than a half a cup, but I may build up to that. I don't know. 2 tablespoons, there's 8 tablespoons in half a cup. So I'm doing at most 5 or 6 tablespoons a day at this point. But, maybe I'll up that and see. But thanks for your question. Sherry from Iowa. Don't know if I missed it, but did you lose on the Lion Diet, and how much are you at your goal? I am not at my goal yet. I did lose. So in October, November, I lost 8 pounds. And in December, I gained 5 back. And now I've lost 3 in January. Actually, the first 2 weeks, I kept saying, I haven't lost a thing. I haven't lost a thing. But I did have a whoosh last week. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah. It is what it is at this point. I did it to myself in December, but yeah, I did lose weight. I wasn't doing it for that. I was doing it for the inflammation. I wanted to see what would happen if I quit coffee, quit dairy, and did only ruminant meats, as is suggested by people like Dr. Chafee and the other real pure carnivores out there. That's what they suggest. And I thought, well, what would happen if I did do that? Because I was always kind of playing around the periphery. And so I felt fantastic. I messed up in December with I already, said what happened there. And struggling in January because of the digestion. So I'm going to go back to that at some point when I'm ready. But right now I'm going to transition back to carnivore and, work on my, my whatever issues I have left and, get the sardines back in. So yeah, I still am not at my goal. I don't know when I'll get there, but here we are. Jazzy Mama in Alaska. Have you had any sardines or seafood? Did you miss it? I do miss it. and I will be having it within a couple of weeks. I'll have a can of sardines again, and I do. Yeah, I think it's highly valuable, and I recommend it to anybody, honestly, unless you're allergic. Don't have it if you're allergic. Rune How, my blood test showed I have H. pylori. Could you please give me some suggestions? I'm sorry, I don't know anything about H. pylori. I'm not a doctor or a nurse or anything. Yeah, if sorry, I just don't know what that is. But maybe there are people in the chat that might know. And can direct you. Has your doctor suggested anything? You must have, to know you have that, you must have been tested. So yeah, sorry. Patricia did sardine fast for 3 weeks. My ketones skyrocketed, but I didn't lose a pound. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that. Like I said, it's not meant to be, although some people do lose weight eating nothing but sardines. It's meant for healing, and getting people's blood glucose down. You didn't mention what happened to your blood glucose, or if you needed for that to go down. But that's what the intention of doing those sardine challenges. I honestly don't think people need to do sardine challenges where they eat nothing but sardines. 3 weeks seems like a long time to eat nothing but sardines. I think, I'm glad that I did those 3-day challenges that I did, because it kind of introduced me to the whole concept. And the value. And so I just got benefit by adding it into my regular meals, having a can a day, switching it up with salmon, having seafood every day, I found was of great benefit to me. And yeah, I would keep adding them in to your regular rotation, and just I don't know, like, if you're close to goal, or how much you have to lose, or anything else about you. So hang in there, keep trying new things. Feyna started carnivore, no dairy, just butter, meat, eggs, fish. Gained 10 pounds. What am I doing wrong? Lost 3 pounds doing sardine, gained it all back. So a lot of people, and even Kelly Hogan, who I follow and I'm in her coaching group, she went through a period of time where she did strict carnivore and she gained weight, and I think she gained 20 pounds. And then it started falling off again. So during this healing period that some people need to go through, weight gain can happen, especially if you came from a calorie restricted diet. A lot of people come to carnivore, they've been under eating for many years, 1,100 calories a day, and then all of a sudden they're doubling their calories, and sometimes they will temporarily gain weight. But if they stay the course, then it comes off again. And I know that is distressing, but sometimes your body is going, wow, I've got nutrition for the first time, and it starts to do some healing. And for that, it needs that meat. And again, not knowing anything about your history or what your background is, I can only guess that might be part of what's going on. Double D 56. Is there anything that will help with the nauseated feeling when fasting? Maybe some salt under the tongue. Make sure you're getting some electrolytes. That's probably what it is. Exposing darkness. I'm really looking forward to meeting you at Meatstock. All right. I don't know if your name tag will say exposing darkness, so you'll have to come up and introduce yourself to me. I'm going to quickly just remind everybody, I can't believe the time is flying by. This is the giveaway. Put salty in the comments for a chance to win that. Okay. Favorite cuts of meat from Christine. I'm gonna have to move quickly through these last few questions. Favorite cuts of meat. Sirloin cap is probably my number one favorite cut of meat. I have that often. I love to age it in the fridge, and then I make steak bites out of it. It is so good. It's also called picanha in some places, culotte steak in some places. They sell them at Costco in the 3-pack. It's a budget-friendly meat. I also like chuck roast, also known as blade roast here in Canada. And, I braise them now. And oh my goodness, those are so tender and juicy. I love that. What else? Of course I like ribeye, but it's just too darn expensive. Here it's like $25 a pound. I can't do that anymore. So that's outrageous. So those two, I actually like those. I like the sirloin cap better than the ribeye actually, and it's half the price. Danny, egg loaf is a great dish to mix things up with and feel like you're eating something different. Absolutely, I love that egg loaf. Thank you, Danny. Amy, what is your favorite type of sardines and how do you enjoy eating them? So my favorite ones are King Oscar. With bone and skin, not the skinless. Some people like the skinless, boneless. I want to get all the nutrients. If they had heads, I'd eat them too. I'd eat the heads, but they don't. I like it. I keep them in the fridge so that they're cold, and then I put yellow mustard on them. That is my favorite way. It's fast and easy. I do, of course, have lots of sardine recipes that are on my channel that people can look up. But that is my favorite. Exposing Darkness, welcome to the membership. Thank you for joining. And here's another one. Maybe this is the same one. Thank you, Jason, for rolling the membership wheel and awarding another membership to somebody. That is awesome. It's a different person. Sandy Thomas was gifted a membership by Just Jason Keto. Wonderful. So you guys, all three, two of you, three of you, there's been three tonight. Check out the membership tab. That is where we put the Zoom invitations. And there's a Zoom Wednesdays and Fridays where we talk about these things with just a small group of people. So it can be a little easier. You get to have your say, ask your questions. We're all live together. So it's kind of fun. It's a good support. So here we are. We have a few more minutes left. So I think we're going to do the draw now. If you haven't put salty in the comments, do it now. Also, if you after we do the draw, there might be time for one or two questions, so throw those in there now as well, and let's do the draw. Who is going to be the winner? Oh, it's so exciting. Bobby R. Okay, Bobby. Congratulations. And could you send me your info, like your contact info, and I will mail this out to you this week. Congrats, Bobby. All right. Okay. Let's see. Did any more questions come in? Okay, I'm going to go over to the live. There's a bunch of people down there congratulating Bobby. Okay. What else? Who else have we got here today? I see lots of recipe ideas here. Let me see. What are we doing? Smoked salmon mixed with cream cheese as dip with pork rinds. That speaks to me. Thank you for that suggestion, Jazzy Mama. Victoria, is the yogurt maker you use an Amazon product and linked and the new capsules? I guess I need to be brave and order them. You did read the book. Good. Well, that's great that you read the book. I just released a video a couple of days ago using my yogurt maker and also the new capsules. So check that out. The links are below in that video for the yogurt maker as well as for his capsules. So definitely check that out. Thank you for the question. Let me see if I can spot any others in there. Or we can just wrap it up too. Okay. All right. I'm not really good at finding the questions in the live chat. Let me just check there. Okay. So we're at the end. So congratulations, Bobby. This will get mailed to you. And thank you guys for being here on Sunday night again. I really appreciate it. Hit like on your way out if you didn't hit it on the way in, just so that YouTube recognizes the algorithm for this and more people know about it. Wonderful to see you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you here next week. Next week we're gonna talk about why it's so hard to lose weight the second time around when you try it. Second, third, fourth, subsequent times when you try it. There are reasons. We're gonna talk about them next week. So see you guys here next week. Good night.